Oh, what is going on, everybody? It's that time of year again. It's going to be New Year's Day 2023, so we've got to talk about Chapel's top 10 albums of 2022. I know you've been waiting on it, biting your fingernails, nervous with anticipation. Well, here it is. Lady Chapel is here with me to come along for this conversation, if you will. Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
uh, All right, and we're going to try to get through this. I know I get a little long winded every year, so I'm going to try not to get as long winded. Some of these, I'm going to have some honorable mentions. They'll go by pretty fast. Some of them won't, because I've got to talk about a few albums that didn't make my top 10, but I did listen to quite a bit. I want to talk, get out there and explain how I feel about certain albums this year, because there was a lot to listen to. Compared to what I normally listen to music wise, I have listened to quite a bit of albums this year. So, but first, let's go ahead and kick it off. We have number 10, the Tejon Street Corner Thieves. Woo, baby. Thick as thieves. Great. I love these guys. They're, you know, they play like folk bluegrass music, but sing a lot about drinking and just debauchery and and fun upbeat. They got a fun energy to them. We did a Chapel's Concert Chronicles with them and Amigo the Devil, and it was an amazing show. And some of these songs were on their album before. I'm not really sure why they re-recorded them for the new album, but they sound great. Still like 44 and whiskey. Whiskey's been so played by them. It's probably their most played song, and it's a great song. But I was like, there's no need to re-record that song. It's already good as it is. But anyways, whatever. That album still, I kicked the hell out of it there when it first come out. And kudos to those guys. I love those guys. So number 9, Necro Goblicon, the fundamental slimes and humors. Uh, what a fun record! And we saw those guys live this year as well with Guar and Gohor and the Native Howl. That was a killer show. Um, oh man, and Necro Goblicon was crazy. I know we got to meet the lead singer. We got to meet the guy. Supposed to be John Goblicon, but it's just some dude they hired to get on the road to dress like the Goblin. Because that guy he's a comedian. I can't think of his name right now. He does the whole shtick, the Right Now, show. Right Now, Jerry. It just tickles the shit out of me. Love Necro Goblicon. The album was just fun as always. It sounds like goblin music with some metal, and not like Fin Troll. You know what I mean? Like Fin, they're not a Fin Trollish band,
No.
but they do have a little bit of that sound in places. It's just you can imagine goblins playing it for some reason, but it's just ridiculous songs. Not so ridiculous. They sound ridiculous. Some of them are very. The lyrics are very. Can tug at your heartstrings a little bit there, but the presentation is not so serious. Um, Number 8, probably my favorite black metal album of the year, the Native American black metal band Black Braid. Black Braid 1. Oh, so I'm ready for Black Braid 2 because this is a refreshing sound for black metal for me. Taking a whole nother point of view, being that they're it's from a Native American perspective, and it's still just killer blast beats, killer sound. I love the vocals. I love how they, it's just like Fury 1 minute, and then they write some really cool melodic part, and then it's like right back to the brutality. Great band. I rocked the hell out of this album a lot this year, And I actually, this year, I've listened to a lot of more extreme metal bands than I normally do. And Black Braid was definitely one of them. Number 7. Also another band we saw this year.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. Amorphous. Halo. What an album.
Amazing.
Amazing. And the songs they played from it live sounded great. This album did not disappoint. This was a perfect Amorphous record. If you're an Amorphous fan, this is a solid damn record to listen to. Songs like Northwards and The Moon were ones that stuck out a lot to me. And oh man, the way they used the keyboardist did, like the church or organ sound, a very, very deep purplish kind of sound, a lot on this record. I just wanted just stayed on repeat a lot. Like I said, so many bands really stuck out to me this year, and that Amorphous album definitely stuck out. But going to show a vinyl off for my number 6. Love them or hate them, I've been a fan since 2012. But Ghost Impera is a damn fine record. Oh,
that's got some great artwork.
Great artwork. The vinyl I got is a killer. Like, I don't know, it's like a bluish,
like a mint green.
Yeah, I was gonna say a bluish green, but it's very see-through. And
green.
I mean, I know they're going a little with this one. It's got more of a steampunk sort of feel, but I'm gonna hand this to you. Let you do that. But I still like the artwork. I'm like, steampunk's as a style, I say, is past its prime a little bit,
A little bit.
But I still dig seeing it in certain ways, and I enjoy it. I'm not a big fan of how, I didn't really like how the Nameless Ghouls look now, but I know that they had to go for a little steampunk look for this album, so. But I miss the old masks so much. But this album, I mean, so many sing-alongs. I mean, so many hooks, so many good choruses. I think Spotify told me that Call Me Little Sunshine was probably my most listened to song, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't really mean for that to happen, but it did. It was such a good, I love that song. What a great single. And Watcher in the Sky was definitely one of my favorites. I sing the hell out of that one every time it comes on my Spotify mix. But after that, that's a good halfway mark. We're going to get into some of my honorable mentions. Some of these I'm going to really talk about. Some of them I'm just going to kind of say a little bit about them, and we're going to go on. And first part of my honorable mentions, I want to talk about albums that surprised me that I can't believe I liked. First one, I liked it, and it made me mad that I liked it. And that was the new Machine Head of Kingdom and Crown. Oh my God, it was a beautiful record. It almost, was one of those that could have creeped on my top 10, and I didn't want it to. I was so upset with him over Catharsis. I just absolutely detest that record. It's one of the worst, besides Supercharger, probably the worst Machine Head record ever. But this one, I have nothing bad to say about this record. The vocals and guitar work and the songs were just amazing. And I got, it made me feel good to be a Machine Head fan again, because I was on the outs with them. I've got this love-hate relationship with Rob Flynn. It's like, I love you, but I just want to choke the shit out of you sometimes, because of, sometimes you're, Machine Head was like, it was like first two records great, third record, fourth record, and then the fifth record they're back to being a heavy Machine Head again, and then they hold on to that, and then they get a little epic more down the line, and then they hit Catharsis, and it's way back downhill. And then I thought I would never forgive them again, and then they put out this record, beautiful. I got nothing but good things to say about it. Another band I used to love a lot back in the day, probably about 10, 15 years ago, Lamb of God, Omens. What an album. They best sounding Lamb of God album I have heard in a very, very long time. Most of their stuff is not been too memorable with me. I don't hate them by any means, but I used to really dig them back in the early days. As the Palaces Burn is one of my all-time favorite Lamb of God albums. Devin Townsend produced it. I love Devin Townsend, but we'll talk about him shortly on down the line. Slipknot, the end so far sounded like a solid Slipknot record. As someone who saw Slipknot in '99 Ozfest when nobody knew who the fuck they were, they came out on stage and their gimmicks, their masks, and then all of a sudden they started beating the shit out of each other on stage and playing their music, and we were like, "What is this? This is crazy! It's 1999. Nobody's doing this." And to see where they are now is crazy. I mean, I hadn't really cared for anything since All Hope Is Gone, but this album I definitely spun a few times because I dig the nostalgic sounds of some of the songs. Some of Corey Taylor's clean vocals get a little too much on the Stone Sour side. I mean, there is a difference. I know people think, oh, Corey Taylor's Corey Taylor, but no, he does things differently for each of his projects, and some of those clean vocals were just a little too much on the Stone Sour side for me. But the rest of it, though, he was killing it. He knocked it out of the park. The rest of the band did too. Kudos to Jay Weinberg, because that's not easy shoes to fill. Of Joey Jordison, who was just one of the greatest drummers ever walked the face of the earth. So he did a great job on this album. I liked it a hell of a lot better than the last album. That was a disappointment, that last record. I don't ever want to listen to it again. But this one, great job. Bloodbath. I haven't liked Bloodbath since Nick from Paradise Lost has become the vocalist. I didn't really like the way he came across, and I like Paradise Lost. I like when he does the death metal stuff and with them as well. But this with Bloodbath, I've just never liked it until this album. Oh my god, it was great. Zombie Inferno, man, grabbed me right away. But just a solid damn record. Well, that's the end of my albums that surprised me. But as albums that almost made my top 10, Clutch's Sunrise on Slaughter Beach. Oh, man. It just a little too short. I loved it. And, I've been a Clutch fan, for a pretty long time now. It took me a while to get into Clutch. I wasn't a fan in the early days. They were whatever to me. And then, all of a sudden, they just become this monster of a band. And I've seen them live so many times. It just changed my whole idea of them. And so this album really feels like a good older Clutch record, but it's just too short. I feel like it's over like that. And that was my biggest complaint. But great album. Matt Pike put out her album, solo record, I guess you might call it, Pike versus the Automaton, which also had Brent from Mastodon on it, did some stuff on it. Great record. I love him. I mean, it's still got that High on Fire kind of style, but there's some instrumentation in there that you wouldn't hear on a High on Fire record. So it was pretty interesting album for him. I I rocked it really early in the year, and then I kind of later in the year kind of got reminded about it, and I was like, oh, dude, totally forgot about this album. And and being refreshed brought me back to why I love this dude. I mean, everything from Sleep to High on Fire to this, it's just great stuff. Another Paradise Lost person, Craig McIntosh, guitar player. His band Strigoi, Viscera. Could have been made my top 10. But it was later in the year. I didn't listen to it as much as I listened to a lot of these other albums. But definitely hit where Val and Fire sort of left off. It's a little cleaner in the guitar tone, but that doomy death metal sound is definitely there, and absolutely loved it. Goat Whore, Angels Hung from the Arches of Heaven. Saw them live this year. Kicked my ass. Oh, they were just beautiful. Just none more metal than Goat Whore. But this album also hit me later in the year, even though it was a solid record. It just didn't quite make my top 10. But it is what it will kick your ass, though. Definitely. Death White.
Oh, so good.
Almost, oh man, No Thought or Memory was played a lot from that album. I definitely love this album. I kind of dig their album before just a little better, but this one is pretty solid, and he has a very interesting vocal style for like a doom metal.
Yeah.
They don't really do death metal sound like vocals at all,
No.
but his clean vocals don't sound normal either. Like you wouldn't hear them in a lot of other bands in that style. He definitely has a unique vocal style, and God, you're almost there, guys. Almost made my top 10. Gray Everlasting is the name of this album by Death White. Septic Flesh, Modern Primitive. I love black and like death metal with symphonic, sounds. It's just, that mixture is such a good sound to me. And Septic Flesh, they don't disappoint, and it was definitely one of the most heavier albums of the year for me. Like I just almost on that top 10, but just all these in my top 10 I listen to pretty hardcore. So
yeah,
these guys were almost there. So right now we're going to do the kind of a quick fire, honorable mentions here, because I listen to so many albums. I don't want to spend forever talking about each and every one, but definitely check out these bands and these albums. Crowbot, Feel This. What can you say? Solid rock band. We've seen them live many times. Great energy. Just check them out. Put them on. Buy the vinyl. Listen to it on vinyl. It's badass. Halung, Drift. Love this pagan folk. You know what you're getting when you're listening to this. It's pagan folk music. It's not metal at all, but for some reason, us metalheads love that shit. That Viking shit just gets us. I mean, speaking of Viking stuff, Amon Amarth, the Great Heathen Army, fun record.
I'm on Martha.
Amon Amarth peaked for me 10 years ago. So every album is usually a fun listen, but they're not showing me anything new. I mean, the Saxons and Vikings song with Biff Butler from Saxon actually was pretty interesting, but yet kind of corny at the same time. So I love it for both reasons. But still a solid listen. Midnight, Let There Be Witchery. Black and roll, baby. I love me some black and roll. This album is, if you like Midnight, it's a Midnight record. I mean, they don't make no excuses. They are what they are, and you know what you're going to get when you listen to Midnight. probably my folk country singer that I really like a lot, Benjamin Todd. Songs I swore I'd never sing. Uh, just him and a guitar, and some of the saddest songs you'll ever hear. But man, this dude is so young, but you thought he'd lived a lifetime in the type of music that he writes. And this album was no different. I wish I'd give it a little more listens, but I probably will at some point when the country mood really hits me. And I'll be going back to this album. Belphegor, The Devils. Wow, it's a heavy record. Like I said, listened to a lot of real heavy stuff this year. Belphegor did not disappoint. Also, another great, badass heavy band, Watain, put out The Agony and Ecstasy of Watain. And I know one of my go-to black metal bands, but this year that album really stuck around with me. Revocation, Nether Heaven. I just never listened to a Revocation album I didn't like. I just got into this a little later in the year, and what can you say? They kick ass. They kick ass. Listen to all of these. I'm telling you, all these are good. Just because they didn't make my top 10 did not mean they were not good albums. These are all great listens. So, but I didn't really have disappointing albums this year, but they weren't disappointments, but they didn't impress me. Devin Townsend's light work, some really cool things about it, but overall just boring. Just boring.
Especially coming after
that last album was just chaos for no fucking reason, and then this one is like it's just too easy to, I don't know, it just didn't hang with me. I just kind of moved on from it. I was excited to hear the new Mars Volta record, which was self-titled, and just bored me. And I was like, I don't want to be bored listening to Mars Volta. They're not supposed to be boring at all. That's the whole point of Mars Volta. Another one solid good song is that new Behemoth, and overall the rest of it's kind of forgetful for me. But that I am nothing song was good. But Opus Contra, and I'm gonna Natsvrem. I'm not up on my Latin, so But yeah, it just overall just didn't latch on to me. But they didn't completely disappoint me. I was just like, ugh. They just I wanted them to latch on, and they didn't. So now we are halfway through. We're about to hit number 5. So cheers as we take a shot of Sailor Jerry's. Cheers, Lady Chapel.
Cheers.
All right, now number 5. Wow, I haven't been in love with a album from this band in a very long time. My number 5 is Megadeth, The Sick, The Dying, and The Damned. It was nice to hear them back to the more thrashier sound of Megadeth, because they've not put out an album that's latched on to me in over 20 years. Well over 20 years. So probably Euthanasia, not Cryptid Writings, Keys. If you watch this, no one listens to that but you. Anyways, but no, I absolutely love this album. Dave's voice isn't the strongest, but it gives me that almost when you listen to Johnny Cash later in his later years, it's like you could tell his voice is, been through the ringer over the years. You can hear the age in his voice, but it's almost like wisdom, in the way it comes off. You're like, oh man, that guy's been on a journey, because not that they sound like each other at all vocally, him or Johnny Cash, but if you like Dave's voice, it's an acquired taste. But he even did like a deep growl kind of scream on one of the songs. I can't remember what it was, and it wasn't like a death metal, but it was like, oh, it was a real kind of rough vocal, and I was like, damn, he never kind of does stuff like that.
Right.
So that was cool. It just that one took you on a journey. You get Ice-T, body count representing. Got to represent. When you got Ice-T on your album, because if you don't know, Ice-T and Body Count was doing metal. I mean, Cop Killer was a big deal to do. Got banned, and then later on in life, Ice-T plays a cop. So what do you do? Life is life. But yeah, Megadeth. Glad to hear them doing something heavy and solid again. I definitely love that album. Number 4, I listened to most of this album last year, but it didn't officially come out until this year, and that was Zillan Ardor's self-titled Zillan Ardor. Holy crap. Oh, man. And we got some of those new songs on the Concert Chronicle with Zillan Ardor, Mastodon, and Opeth. Oh man, they're evolving into something better and better with each album. You take that whole sound of they kind of do the Chain Gang blues sound, and there's a little bit of everything, a little bit of soul, a little bit of black metal, a little bit of even some stuff almost sounds a little new metalish in some ways that they some of the guitar riffs and stuff, which is interesting because I normally wouldn't like anything like that, but something in the way they structure it in their songs I really dig. And of course the vocals are amazing when they those all those songs are usually stuck in my head a lot. Go out there, definitely please listen to Zillan Ardor. I love those guys. My number 3. Oh man, I brought out my signed copy. Here it is. Crowbar Zero and Below. Oh man, I don't think my vinyl was colored. I think it was black, but still, I mean, man, saw them again this year. Multiple times I have seen Crowbar. Oh yeah, it does. It is colored. I forgot. Yeah,
look at that.
Got the blue and black splatter, half and half. Loving this stuff. God, what can you say? Crowbar just made another great Crowbar record. Later in life, almost the last 10 to 15 years, man, Crowbar has really put out some solid stuff again, and which I like all their stuff, but they've had some ups and downs in their career over time, and a lot of bands like when Killswitch Engage and Unearth come out, they were all talking about how they love Crowbar, and that kind of helped re-emerge Crowbar again and bring Crowbar back out to the public, and they still doing it, just DIY all the time. We met his wife earlier this year. I'd met her before, but she's really awesome. And Kirk is Kirk, man. When it's time to make the donuts, that motherfucker's on stage, ready to go. And this album is a solid Crowbar. If you love Crowbar, you're gonna love Zero and Below. Bleeding from every hole. God almighty, we're getting close, guys. My number 2 is, oh man, could have been my number 1, but just my number 1 barely beat this out. This was something I've been waiting on forever, and this was the Halo Effect, Days of the Lost. It's basically In Flames with Dark Tranquillity Singer. That's basically what it is, and it sounds like old In Flames.
Love it.
And I absolutely love it, start to finish. Some of the best melodic, heavy songs that we've been waiting to hear. I haven't given a shit about an In Flames album since Come Clarity. And this band makes me feel like this is where In Flames should be. And then now In Flames is working on a new album that'll be out next year. And guess what? Oh, it's heavy again. I wonder why. All their old members are making better music than they are. So, what can I say? The Halo Effect definitely was one of my most listened to artists this year, and we were so excited for them. And the album did not disappoint. The album is so solid from start to finish. And so many songs that are just the melodies just will just attach in your brain and won't leave. Oh, all right, guys, here we are. We're to the end, so we're gonna do one more shot. And then Old Chapel here is gonna give you his number one.
Oh, the suspense.
The suspense is killing us. Oh, so cheers to Lady Chapel and cheers to everybody. Hope you had a wonderful 2022. Let's ring in 2023 like kings, baby. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
My number one comes from my favorite artist of all time.
Who's that?
Look behind me. Mr. Ozzy Osbourne with Patient Number 9. Oh man, another good, beautiful colored vinyl. This is a double vinyl, by the way. I can't wait to really delve into this. Check out this color. Oh man, that blue. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh man. Oh,
So pretty.
love it, love it, love it. I mean, how many just Ozzy? When I heard Ordinary Man, it felt like the songs were basically saying this is the end, right?
Yeah.
And then I heard not long after he was already working on a follow-up record. I was like, what? Because Ordinary Man just very came off like this is a swan song. But I wasn't as happy with that album as I am with this one. This one has that feeling you get like when Ozzy gets rejuvenated every now and then.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I haven't felt like this way since Osmosis. When Osmosis came out, it was like a revamped Ozzy, you know, a refreshed and new sounding Ozzy. And this has that sort of feeling too, but it's like, I feel like a lot of the older school fans will dig it a little more just because of the way the songs are written. There's no Post Malone anywhere on this album. And not that I hated the Post Malone stuff, but, you know, some people feel a certain way. But I was like, hey, man, that introduced Ozzy to a whole nother, you know, bunch of people that probably didn't even know who Ozzy was, you know?
Yeah.
And didn't realize, you know, his importance in rock music, heavy metal music, altogether. And this album was no different. Everybody from Jeff Beck is on 2 songs. The title track, Patient Number 9. Zakk Wylde is basically playing rhythm on every album, and he guest solos on some of the songs. They got Eric Clapton to come down and do a song, that one of these days song, which is great. I'm trying to remember who Tony Iommi does a couple of songs. It's just a few people who are, you know, like special guests, but it just has a great Ozzy feeling to it. And Ozzy's voice sounds so good.
Yeah.
He sounds so good. And at 73 years old, he's still putting out solid material and just wants to go all the time. And you know, my much love goes out to Ozzy because I know that he's not had the best of health here recently, and I know he's going through a lot. But this old mountain man loves Ozzy Osbourne, and so always hoping for the best. And everybody keep the Oz man in your thoughts. He needs you. He needs you. So yeah, Patient Number 9. What a beautiful record. What a beautiful album. Solid record. I listened to multiple times. Kicks Ordinary Man out of the water. Just blows them out of the water.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little rushed version. Still got about 40 minutes in here, so pushing about 40 minutes. So better than the 54 last year. I got a little long-winded, so. But everybody, hey, Happy New Year, and go out there and find you some good music.